Hello and welcome to the Startup Kitchen podcast. My name is Fergus. I'm the editor of Startup Kitchen, and with me today is Tom Zrubecky from Talentpilot, and we're going to see what's cooking with him now. Welcome, Tom.
Thank you for having me.
Very happy to have you. I think the best place to start is Talentpilot. What is Talentpilot?
Talentpilot is my startup that I've been building with my team for more than 2 years now. And at Talentpilot, we have kind of very simple belief, which is that in a world where pretty much every company can buy the same intelligence in the form of an AI model, the real competitive advantage will be people that will turn this intelligence into results. And this is what we are building. So we have 2 agents. We have agent for internal employees that basically knows their roles, skills, goals, and supports them to, deliver the best work of their career. And then we have an agent for talent acquisition that can, find great candidates on the internet, reach out to them, assess them, how they fit into the company culture, environment, and the role, and basically run this end to end.
Okay, that's really interesting. I think let's talk a bit more about what these agents do, right? So the internal agent, if I work for a company that uses Talentpilot, like what's that experience like for me, the internal agent?
So your manager will assign you this agent. We call him Niko. And Niko first needs to learn a little bit about you, right? So either he already has the data about you, some role and maybe your skills, maybe your goals for this quarter, etc. But your first interaction with him will be actually like an intake with him. So he will kind of introduce why he is there for you, how he can help you, and then ask you a few questions about, okay, so what they're working on right now, what their goals, etc. And then you will have basically 2 modes of Niko. One is kind of developmental related to your work. So let's say that you want to get better at using AI at your work, right? So he will coach you to realize where you can use AI, how you can use in your specific line of work, etc. And then you will have a private mode with him, meaning that you can have a chat with him regarding your career aspirations, and he will kind of help you steer that. You can have a conversation with him, for example, that you want to prepare for a tough conversation with your manager, etc. So these 2 modes will be there. Obviously, the private mode will be only between you and Niko. No data will be shared elsewhere, but the developmental part obviously needs to be shared with the company, so the company knows how you're doing, where they can support you, etc., etc.
And then I'd like to get back to that later, but I'm also interested about the external mode. Is that the one that's called Alex?
Yes.
Okay, could you tell me more about Alex?
Yeah, so Alex actually works like a recruiter. Right? You can tell her what type of hiring process you want her to run, and she will run it end to end. So you can tell her, hey, whenever a candidate will get to our pipeline, I want you to first scrape the CV, then look into the CV, compare it to our job description, and then, for example, invite this person to the meeting with the recruiter, the real recruiter. And you have like super configurable kind of environment of Alex, because you can have the process almost fully automated by her, or you can use it just for here and there for some parts of the process where you think she might help you the most, and the rest will be handled by people.
Okay, so so you have the option. You can use it to run whole sections by themselves or as a helper. Now, I remember in earlier conversations we had that you mentioned also that it's modular, right? A lot of it. So can you explain a bit how that works, the modular part?
Yeah, so we have several modules in Talentpilot. For example, for the Alex, the AI recruiter, you can use her kind of capability. We can call it modules. It's like more like capabilities that you can utilize, and the capabilities actually go to the internet, find people, evaluate their fit, reach out to them. This is kind of one module. Another modular capability is to run AI interviews with candidates. So she will literally talk to the candidate over the phone or like a Teams meeting and interview the candidates. You can have module that only handles, for example, scheduling to next meetings, right? So we have these modules / capabilities that you can utilize, and you don't need to use all. You can use just this capability. This is what I'm kind of literally, it works like a human, right? If you have a person and, for example, you hire someone part-time, you want them to do only this type of job, which is tied to their capabilities. You would someone just to have interviews with candidates, right? And this is how we are building our product. So you literally can imagine like you're hiring someone and you are saying to him, I want to use your capabilities for this specific part of the process or for the whole process. And this same goes for Niko. Niko also has kind of capabilities. He can, for example, help you prepare for performance reviews. He can, for example, rehearse a meeting before a meeting happens, right? This is kind of very important today because practice makes perfect. And so you can imagine that you are a salesperson and you know that you will have very difficult client you need to talk to, for example, renewal of your product, and you know, for example, that the usage of your product has been kind of declining, and so you want to be prepared, right, for the discussion. So you can use Niko. So Niko will role play the other side. You will give him the context about the other side, etc. And you can practice this conversation. So these are the capabilities of the AI agents that you can use and you don't need to use if you don't need them.
Okay, that's actually interesting though. It's a bit of a sidetrack, but I'm interested. So if Niko can help roleplay, can he, catch moods and stuff, or is he not quite that advanced? Because I know there's some companies even here in Prague that are working on that.
Yes, we don't do that specifically because it's like gray zone in terms of EU regulation, in terms of AI. So you shouldn't kind of pick up on emotions and these type of kind of inherently human characteristics. So we can do it technologically, but we don't do it because of its gray zone from our perspective.
Okay. And then, so Niko I see how Niko like augments the job of a manager, right? But then Alex, could Alex replace a recruiter in your company? Or in a company, sorry.
I think it's not about replacement. It's about, we have a great story, for example, with Rohlik Group. Rohlik is very famous here in CE region, being in from Romania, Austria, Czech, Germany, and these countries. And we, after 3 months since they launched Talentpilot at Rohlik and Alex specifically, we increased the recruiters' capacity 3 times.
Okay.
Just after 3 months. Right, and it's up to the company how they want to work with that, because you have, I would say, 2 types of companies. One company is that they will say, okay, so now we can do the same with less, or which I don't like. Or you have the second type of a company, which is, okay, so now we can do much more with the same.
Yeah,
right.
I've always wondered that. Yeah, because I've seen it like you have 100 programmers, AI comes in, that means you can get rid of 50 programmers, or you could just do double the work with 100 guys, right?
Exactly.
So you're the second kind of company, are you?
I want to position ourselves as the kind of, we specifically target these types of companies that are not kind of negative zero sum, but really growing the pie even further.
Okay, but then that kind of begs the question: do you use your own product?
We do. It's called dog fooding.
Yeah.
So we dog food. But we are a super small team, so honestly, we build this product for big organizations.
Okay.
Like Rohlik, basically 500 plus employees.
Because how big is your team? Sorry to interrupt. But
8.
oh, okay, yeah.
So we are super small. So we are using it primarily Niko, the coach, and also Alex when we need to hire someone. But it's not. We have a very stable team, so we almost don't hire at all. Like we have one hire over the last 18 months.
Oh, okay.
So
but say you had a job opening and it was, I applied to it, I would meet Alex directly.
Yeah.
Okay, and do you gather the feedback from Niko and Alex, or sorry, the feedback that people have, your own people have for Niko and Alex?
Yeah, 100%. And we measure the feedback because candidate and employee experience is super important for every company. And so I'll give you an example. After those 3 months with Rohlik, Alex has processed more than 10,000 candidates, and
it's a lot. Yeah, it's just the economy of scale, right?
It's the economic scale.
But it's Rohlik is a huge company.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, just for any viewer or viewers and listeners who don't know, Rohlik is the delivery service, right? The supermarket delivery. Yeah, fantastic service, by the way.
Yeah, amazing service, amazing reputation in the market, right? And so Alex has processed there more than 10,000 candidates, and with more than almost 1,000 of them did the actual interview. So basically, she ran multiple interviews every single day, and she saved more than 400 hours only on the interviews, and together she saved more than 1,000 hours just within three months.
Okay, and sorry to interrupt again, but the interview that she did, that's that really introductory HR interview that you get for all companies, like just to make sure that you're a real human.
Actually,
availability stuff like
actually, the Rohlik is very special case because they are using Alex as interviewer at 2 different stages in the recruitment process. They are using Alex as an interview at the kind of top of the funnel, so candidates get to the pipeline and have conversation with Alex, and then at the end of the process for culture check. So Rohlik has internal values, they call it ingredients, and basically Alex will take 2 company values, these ingredients, and will run a second specific culture-based interview to just validate whether the candidate is a good culture fit for the company or not.
Okay, but that's interesting though, because isn't there an issue there though? Because I mean, humans have a tendency to change their behavior depending on who they talk to. Now, I mean, I understand you're not using the software this way, but isn't there an issue there for the people being interviewed? Like,
we actually ran last summer. We ran a UX testing with one of the biggest CE banks, and we invited together with this bank, because this bank was actually asking the same question, like will people like it, how it will behave in comparison to the actual interview with the human, etc. So we invited around 40 people to this testing, and they came one by one over several days. And how it looked like was that we sat behind the kind of glass mirror, so they couldn't see us, but we saw them, how they react, was their kind of emotions when I talked to Alex. And after that, we came into the meeting, to the room, and asked them a few kind of talent questions. Oh, how do you feel, and why did you do that and this, and so on. And a couple of things that kind of were surprising to me in a very, very positive way. And don't forget, it was like across demographics. So it was older people, younger people, different kind of job functions, from developers, lawyers, salespeople, also to blue collar workers, etc. And what was surprising to me was that in comparison to an interview with a human recruiter, this AI interview took almost 20% longer.
Oh.
And when we asked them why, or we kind of went through the behavioral questions to learn why it's happening, we learned that it's because they don't feel judged. Because you know it yourself. when you sit in front of someone and you are telling him, hey, I went to this school and at that job, if, for example, myself, right? I studied as a kind of high school electromechanics, which you wouldn't guess. And I might be ashamed of it when I would be applying, for example, to some big international organization. It's up to their standards. So if I talk to the person, I will feel like a little bit ashamed. So I will kind of say just the minimum that I need to tell the person, not to kind of dive deeper into that. But with AI, people didn't feel judged. So they talk more. So they opened more to the AI because they believed that the AI is unbiased. The AI doesn't care what school you have. She cares only about if you have the capabilities today and the skills and competencies, right? And they believe that the AI will run the exact same interview with every single candidate, so they will have the same chance as everybody else.
Okay.
So this was one. And second was that how AI created emotions. Which to me was amazing to see, because AI is good at flattering people. You know that from ChatGPT.
Yeah, it's very sycophantic. Yeah,
sycophantic, exactly. But when you are talking to someone, or the AI, the candidate, and the AI asked the candidate some work-related question, and the candidate answered, and the AI said, "Wow, that's really amazing what you did there." And you saw how they kind of started smiling to the monitor, which was fun. So we ran this last summer, and the perception was just amazing.
Right. But to be clear, though, in this test, did the AI actually evaluate people, or did a human evaluate the AI's interview?
In this test, it was that we wanted to see the user experience, so we evaluated how people feel doing the AI interview.
Okay, so that's mostly what you're interested in. But in a real life setting, this interview process, would it be evaluated by the AI? Would the AI give the yes or no about this person?
The AI doesn't do the decision. The AI basically, what I say is that the AI interprets data.
Okay.
So you have multiple data about the candidate, right? You have his CV, LinkedIn, maybe some cover letter or case study or whatnot. You can just throw it to the AI, and the AI will take all the data points and compare it to your job description, requirements, etc. And then she will tell you, hey, this candidate matches this requirement because of this. And then it's up to you to say, I agree with that. Let's move the candidate forward.
Oh, okay. So there's a recommendation there, but it's a human who has to decide to go with it or not.
Human in the loop.
Okay. Do you know at any point if people or the companies you work with have gone the other way than the recommendation? So maybe the AI said, you shouldn't bother with this person. So if I'm a recruiter and I'm using your thing, and someone gets interviewed and the AI actually doesn't like them, will the AI tell me, like, John, I spoke to John and I don't recommend him because?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
But do you know if recruiters have gone the other way than what the AI recommended? Or
honestly, we track this data because we have some recommendation and people can always override the recommendation, and pretty much no one is overriding it because it's usually correct.
Okay, it's just correct. And then, well, how do you get to correct that? Because you're saying, the AI is often correct, or at least the people you work with think it's correct. It's unbiased. So you've used your own training data, I'm sure.
Yes.
Okay. May I ask a bit about how you got the data, or what you based it on? Or
so we
obviously in vague or in general terms, but
I will not share my IP.
On a public podcast, maybe not. Yeah.
No, we have a team of behavioral and organizational psychologists that are curating our proprietary knowledge base. So currently in our knowledge base is more than 10,000 handily curated empirical studies, insights derived from them by people, and this is basically the knowledge base that the AI uses.
Okay, and then I'm going to pry a little bit. So how does it work? I mean, you have these people know what they're talking about. They understand human behavior at a very deep level. Do you get people and you just test them, and then try to get the right reaction from the AI, or how does it roughly work?
I'm thinking what I can say.
Yeah, this journalists are curious people.
Yeah,
right? So we're always going to try and push you a bit.
But I probably won't comment on that.
No, okay, fair enough. That's that. Well, okay, we talked a bit about your company, right? How did you get to creating an AI recruitment company? Because I don't think you woke up one day and went, "That's it."
Well, it was a journey. It was an almost 10-year journey, because my first job, it was, for me personally, it was a very toxic environment.
Oh, okay, I'm sorry to hear that.
That's fine, that's totally fine. Because what taught me is that what's toxic environment for one doesn't necessarily mean it's going to be toxic environment for another. Because many people left that company because of the environment, and many people stayed there and they loved the environment. So this is what I said, okay, so it really depends person by person and the company by company. So it's kind of first innings of kind of understanding these relationships between employees and employers. And then I got to PwC, where my manager assigned me to a project that was absolutely against my strengths and what I'm good at, and I hated it. Right, I literally hated my job there, and when I came to him after a couple of weeks, when I kind of knew that it's not for me, I asked him if he can reassign me. He said that because of it's a new client, it wouldn't be a good optics that he would do that, so I need to stay there. So I stayed there for a year, which was really terrible for me, because I'm very ambitious. Kind of my strengths are kind of very innovation, aspirations, futurism, etc. And this was really the exact opposite of that. And this is where I was kind of thinking, like, this manager doesn't even know who I am as a person. Why did he do that, etc. So then I left the company and I went to another company where I became manager myself.
Okay.
And I remember to this day very vividly how my marketing person during our one-on-one started crying, because we had a toxic colleague and she couldn't handle him and his behaviors. And I remember how ashamed I was that I didn't know how to react to this situation, right? And this was where I realized, okay, so now I have the experience from the employee who is dissatisfied with his manager, and now I'm the manager who doesn't know what to tell the employee and how to work with the employee. And I realized how difficult it is to be a good people manager, and how difficult it is to understand people, because we are complicated human beings, right? And this actually kind of drove me to the first company that I found in 2020, which was kind of culture fit job board based on psychometric, where you can map your team with their personalities, work environment, etc. And the candidates will do the same, and we would do the matching. So you always, as a candidate, knows whether it's an environment that you would like to work at, given the data that we have about you, and vice versa. And the manager would upfront knows, okay, so this person is like that, he is very analytical, he's very introverted, he's like this and that. And he would know, okay, so these are his unique characteristics, unique strengths, and I need to work with him or her like that.
Okay.
So it was the kind of first company that I founded.
Okay, that's interesting. Just to get back to this whole idea, like you had a manager who didn't treat you as a person. I think most people who've ever had more than one or two jobs can identify very strongly with that. Do you think that Niko would have helped with that?
Yeah, 100%.
Would have helped your then manager, or you with the next person?
Yeah, 100%, because Niko understands every person on the team, because Niko actually works with the person continuously. So continuously gathers new data, new touch points in a kind of positive way. Like I said, we don't want to promote the doomsday scenario where AI will replace all the people. We actually want to empower humanity, because I strongly believe that AI will be here to raise people, not to kind of leave them out, on the universal basic income, and AI will do all the activities. So.
Okay, we're actually getting ahead of something else I want to talk about now, but I am really interested though, because you say this, but a lot of people don't agree with you, right? And especially when it comes to AI and recruiting. I mean, I don't need to tell you about the Twitter and Reddit threads about basically saying AI and recruiting is the worst thing ever. I had one experience, I'm fairly sure it wasn't your product, and it was so bad that I immediately withdrew my application. It was about 1.5 years ago. So what do you say to those people though? Because I mean, I have a feeling when you do get some negative reactions from, maybe not from your clients, but from their audience, maybe even people you just meet at parties or something. So what would you say to that though? Because I mean, it is, we are standing, some people think we're standing at a very dangerous time.
Yeah. And I agree with that.
Okay.
I actually think that we are in the kind of messy middle transition. And because today you have, I would say, two camps of providers of type like AI recruiters or this kind of AI products. One is that they take it super seriously, their commitment to help people and help humanity, which is us, what we want to do. And you have the other ones that basically want to make money, right? And I think
well, at the same, you do also want to make money though, right?
But I believe that it comes together.
Yeah,
right?
okay.
It's kind of developing kind of.
You can make money and be ethical.
Circle. Exactly.
Yeah.
So that's kind of our approach. But there are many tools that focus primarily on the employer side, which they don't care about kind of experience. They don't care about how the AI works, right? For example, we are, I would say, one of the most expensive tools on the market, simply from this reason, because our AI, we have the unique training data that we kind of work with. We have very diligently created harness around the AI. And I'll give you one specific example. Czech language is very complex language, right? You have different gender forms, etc. And if you are using cheap AI model to run the AI interviews, the AI will use bad or wrong gender forms. They will address you as female even though you're male. Misspell check, mispronounce check words, etc. We said no. This breaks the candidate experience. So we want to invest into the highest quality because we believe it all comes together, and this is why we are much more expensive than the competition.
Right? I understand.
And then this is coming back to what I said. We work with companies who understand that who believes that people will be the driving force behind the AI revolution. And because of that, we have these amazing partnerships where they actually trust us in terms of how we develop our AI, that our AI is developed ethically, etc. And it's built for the candidate first experience. But coming back to your question, I think we are in the middle of AI native recruitment process, because right now only one side of the equation, meaning companies, have the AI itself. Candidates currently, they have kind of more negative use of AI to mass apply to thousands of jobs at a given point, right? But that's not the problem. The root cause is that, and I'm kind of actively working on that, is that both the company and the person will have their own agents, and the first interaction will be actually agent to agent.
Okay.
And only if the agent will agree together that it's a good match, it will go directly to human. Currently, you have agent to human. It will go to agent and human directly. But it's gonna take 3-4 years before we get there.
So you'd have an agent to be your representative while job searching.
Exactly.
That would be cool.
That would be super
It
cool.
would save a lot of work.
Yeah, and this agent will know everything about you, your aspirations, where you want to work, what's your kind of dream job you would have, your experiences, your skills, your motivations, maybe your personality, who you are as a person, and knowing this kind of very on a deep level, then it's easy to say, hey, there's a good match, because then you skip the first 5 steps of the current recruitment process.
But so to be clear, what you're hoping to be as Talentpilot isn't just an AI recruiting tool, but you actually want the job seekers to use it as well.
Yeah, long term, yes.
So you want to have both sides of the equation.
Yes. Long term, yes.
Okay, that's really cool.
Yeah.
I don't think anyone else has talked about that yet.
There
Not as far as I know.
Just a couple of companies. One is in England, a couple of in the US, and I think this is the future.
But then I'm really curious, if I'm a job seeker, would I have to pay for Talentpilot to use your agent, or?
The business model is still to be kind of figured out. Currently, the burden of the payment is onto the companies, but maybe in the future it'll be different.
Okay. That'd be interesting. Yeah, I'd like to know more about that. And then while we're talking about ethics, I mean, that is one of the other elephant in the room, is even if a lot of people who don't have a problem with AI, privacy and security, right? So what's your take on that?
Again, very, very strong approach to IT security, data security, data privacy, and everything. So first of all, sometimes we send data to China and Russia, but don't tell anyone.
Yeah. That's good to know. Yeah.
No, I'm just kidding. We have all the data.
How many emails have I sent?
No, I'm just kidding. We have all the data in European Union, usually in Germany or France. So we are kind of fully kind of compliant with all the GDPR and everything, and we take data privacy very, very seriously. It comes down to where the AI is working, right? Because you don't want to send data to even US today. Actually, based on the GDPR, you can't. So we need to, and we work with the kind of largest organizations that there are, for example, here in the CE region, banks, insurance companies, and so on. So we need to take this very seriously. For example, we have a client that is a critical infrastructure of the state. So basically, if there is a war, this company needs to operate to allow people to basically work.
Yeah.
And so we have these types of companies, and obviously they have very, very, very high standards because of the nature of their business and regulatory aspects. So we are super diligent on every single development time. So we say that we have kind of responsible AI development, where everything is kind of privacy by design and security by design developed.
So yeah, and your models are your own, right? They're proprietary. There's no.
Actually, no, because from a very pragmatic reason, which is that today the models develop so fast that still the incremental steps, model by model, they are so big that it's not worth to develop your own model. We were thinking about it multiple times, but it was always, after a couple of weeks, the new model was as capable as what we would achieve with our spending time and money and resources to developing our own model. So we don't develop our own models.
Okay, and which model are you using? Can you talk about that?
You can imagine that I was talking about 2 agents, but actually they are just an orchestrating agent. They're a marketing agent, I would say, or the marketing brand. But underneath them, there are more than 100 of sub-agents that are doing the different use cases. So I can give you 2 examples. One is a sub-agent that processes CVs and compares all the data points about the candidate, right? It's happening on the back end, so you want to make sure that this interpretation of the data is correct, right? So you want to use very strong, very big model that can reason on the data and make a good recommendation. On the other hand, you have the interviewing agent. You need to have very low latency because you don't want to wait 6 seconds once you answer the question for the agent to pick up, right? So it's going to be a lighter model, yet it needs to be kind of, there is always trade-off between speed and accuracy. So we always evaluate all the models that are available on the market, who is the best given our use case and given different use cases that we have.
But you just have so many agents, it's never just one model.
No.
Okay, that's interesting. And then, okay, so you know your way around AI, your product to a certain extent is AI. Has AI actually helped build Talentpilot as well? Because you have a small team, you say it yourself. Do you use a lot of AI just to get stuff done?
100%. We started Talentpilot a couple of months after ChatGPT launched. And back then it was terrible. It was slow, it was hallucinating a ton. I remember that back in the time I wanted to buy a new couch and I was looking for reviews, right? So I asked Bart. If you remember, Bart was AI from Google before Gemini.
Oh my God, yeah, Bard, yeah, it was awful.
It was totally awful, and I would rather forget about it.
Yeah, no, it was truly dramatic.
It was incredible. So I asked it, hey, I'm considering these 2 couches. Find me the reviews and tell me which one is better, right?
Yeah.
And it totally hallucinated everything.
Yeah.
I was like, this is weird. So I ran the searches through Google and didn't find anything.
No.
And when I kind of challenged the AI, Bart, he said, yeah, sorry, but I wanted to help you. I was like, okay, great, thanks.
Okay, thanks for that, yeah.
Thanks for that. So it was back in those times where we didn't use AI that much in our company. But today, everything changed dramatically. I give you an example. We have an AI colleague that lives in Slack, and everyone has access to him, and the people just task him. So one example is that this colleague can run end-to-end marketing campaigns because he has access to our brand identity, to our tonality, and everything around that. He has access to business, Meta Business Manager and Google Ads and all these tools. And you tell him, hey, I want to run a marketing campaign for this use case. He will ask you, okay, so what's your budget? What should be your target audience? And then he'll do everything. You just tell him, hey, and by the way, I want you to, once a week, every Monday at 9 a.m. to send me an analysis over the last week, how we did. And by the way, I also want you to iterate on that campaign every other day. So take the data from previous 2 days and do the iterations that you will improve the cost per click, click-through rates, and everything. And this is basically end-to-end by an agent.
Yeah, but I'm end-to-end, so there's no human in the loop?
No human in the loop.
No,
you just receive the analytics and say, okay, it's pretty good, so you can continue.
Okay, so you do trust it that much?
I did trust AI much more than I should.
Okay, do you have any other examples of trusting AI more than you should?
I would say that I would say I started using AI dramatically more at the beginning of the year. And today I trust the AI. For example, recently we've been raising a new round as a startup, and I trust the AI that will research the investors. Obviously, I gave the AI the context. I know that context is the most important aspect for the AI and how you prompt the AI. So I gave context of what we're raising, valuation, proposition, clients, our monthly recurring revenues, and every data that I know I would use as a human to do the proper work in researching VCs where they are a good fit for us.
Okay.
And so I gave this very sensitive data to the AI, and I just said, hey, do the research, validate the research, do the research again, disvalidate it, like use these your hypothesis, and once you have the list, prepare an outreach sequence because I gave the AI access to my mailbox. So prepare the outreach email to those people. Also enrich their data of the partners, find what the partners are talking about on the internet, find a connection between Talentpilot, and run the campaign.
All right.
So end-to-end,
How's the round going?
Very good, actually.
Yeah,
Very good, actually.
so we can expect some news soon, or
Yeah, maybe.
okay, I see. I will push it, but then okay. So this is really interesting, and you've built this, and now we're slowly coming to the end of the podcast, and I am curious, your experience, right? You've been working a lot with AI. What do you think that this AI revolution has meant for startups in general, or in Czechia? Like, do you have any thoughts on that?
In general, I think it is a huge democratization of startup building from two perspectives. This AI colleague that I'm talking about, right? He costs around 200 euros per month, but he works like 10 different people. So it's one thing, right? And second thing is that if AI can generate, basically build the whole product end to end. You just need to tell it what you want, and the AI will build it for you. You as a founder, you have two jobs, I would say. One is build a product, and second, find people that will buy the product. Only these two jobs. Nothing else matters, right? But building a company is much more than that. It's actually running the campaigns, running the marketing, hiring, doing accounting and all this kind of operational stuff, and you can offset this to the AI. You can really focus now on your two jobs that you have as a founder. And I think it was a huge democratization of startup building, because now you will just pay for Claude $200 per month, and you have almost unlimited tokens that can help you build your product. And if you are good, you can build your agent to do the kind of market research, marketing, etc. And you will focus on the highest level of tasks, which is talking to your customers, understanding their needs, understanding whether your product that you currently have in mind will solve their needs, whether they buy it, etc., etc. So I think it's amazing democratization of startup building.
And that sounds great, but then at the same time, we're seeing an issue now with the cost of tokens just increasing like somewhat dramatically. Don't you think that might reverse that change a bit, or what do you think? What do you see happening?
Yeah, I see happening that cost of token, and to be clear, I don't like this metric of cost for tokens, right? Because you have two examples. You have Fable 5 from Anthropic, which is super expensive, and then you have Kimi K3, which is open source, open weight from China, which is much less expensive. But ultimately, it's not about tokens, it's about outcomes or outputs of the AI. And if the AI needs to generate 10,000 tokens to generate some outcome or output, and the other AI needs to generate 1,000, but the AI costs 5 times more, you start saving money on tokens. So I think there is kind of a misunderstanding of token cost, how it works, because it's not about tokens. Everybody talks about tokens. Let's talk about output of the AI and then measure the output cost and not token cost. So this is one thing. And second thing is that I think the token cost or output cost will decrease dramatically, simply because of efficiency of the models, because you drive the cost of tokens primarily through reasoning. And if you can be much more efficient in reasoning of the AI, you will drive the cost down in general of the output. So this is what I'm seeing. So if you start looking at cost per output, it's already very good, and it's actually decreasing. And I think it will decrease even further, because more and more models will focus on this efficiency of reasoning and token efficiency, that the outputs will be very cheap.
Yeah, but at the same time, it also means that a user needs to be more skilled.
No, actually, not necessarily.
No, because I mean, to reason your way, or good reasoning, so to reduce the token usage.
Today, the people that can drive the most value of AI are very, even not technical, but they are very good at understanding what they want and use different means to get to the outcomes, right? Because, for example, now today, I would say typical way how you develop something with AI as the engineer is that you will use only one model end to end. But it's actually not efficient. Efficient is that you will use the very expensive model as the orchestrator that just works maybe 5% of the time and actually orchestrates the simpler, smaller, much cheaper models that do the heavy lifting. And then you have at the end, again for 5% of the time, you have the big model just to review the work of the smaller agents.
Yeah.
And this is how you can drive the cost significantly down, but it's like in the 80s and 90s of the internet, right? Only the very technical people can do it, but it's gonna be just a matter of a couple of years where it'll be kind of on demand, like for everyone. You just click a button and you will have, you'll just tell the AI what you want, and the AI on its own will decide, okay, so for this task I will use this cheap model, for this task I will use this more expensive model, and this and that, and then they will do the outcomes.
You seem like you're going to be absolutely ready for it, though.
I will.
Okay, well, I think on that note, I'm going to thank you for your time and coming here. I have a feeling we'll have some follow-up questions at some later time. So, Tom Zrubecky of Talentpilot, thank you very much for coming. This was Fergus O'Sullivan Startup Kitchen. Thank you for listening. Until the next time.